Hola, hola, bienvenidos a otro live. Aquí esperando a que todos se conecten. Estoy poniendo aquí el pin del taller. Ok. Hola, hola, hola. Bueno, bienvenidas, bienvenidos a otro live. El live de hoy va a ser en inglés. Today's live is going to be in English if anyone out there is there for the live today. Y va a ser la primera vez que estoy haciendo un live o que tengo información en inglés en mi canal. Pero bueno, la idea es empezarnos a ir un poco más bilingües. En el podcast también voy a estar invitando a gente que habla en inglés porque bueno, conozco mucha gente que es increíble, que habla inglés, así que estoy muy feliz de invitar a mi invitada de hoy, que nos va a dictar un taller el próximo sábado en la membresía BU. Y para todas las personas que siempre nos preguntan, BU es mi membresía que puedes pagar mensual, semestral o anual. Y tenemos muchísimas herramientas y somos una comunidad de mujeres que estamos practicando nuestra espiritualidad, todas las herramientas que nos encantan. Hoy esta herramienta de la próxima semana que vamos a aprender es acerca de todas nuestras habilidades psíquicas. Entonces, bueno, estoy muy feliz. Se pueden inscribir aquí en el link de mi bio para conocer un poquito más acerca de BU, pero nuestra invitada de hoy, muy emocionada de tenerla, es Sloan. Y Sloan, su Instagram se lo dejé aquí, Sloan Awaken with Sloan, ya voy a empezar este live en inglés, ¿vale? So I'm so happy today to have Sloan as my first guest in English. And Sloan is a second generation spiritual medium. She discovered her spiritual abilities on her mat and continues to mix ancient yoga practices with spiritualism to empower inner wisdom. And we will be talking about her workshop next week is about the 3 steps to access your spiritual powers. That's what we're going to be learning in Sloan's workshop next Saturday. So I'm so happy to have her as my first guest on an English live. Let's invite Sloan.
Hi.
Hello. How are you, my love?
Hi, everyone. It's so good. I am feeling amazing. I'm really honored and excited to be here and to just be in this space with you.
Yeah, I
So
know, I know.
exciting.
Thank you, thank you. And I'm so happy to have you on and have you talking about all these amazing things that happened to me when I was a little girl. And for you just to really explain to all the moms out there, my experience was so Sloan is a medium, right? I already said it in her bio. And I've seen her grow. We met at one of her yoga classes. I was one of your students that I loved your yoga classes here in Miami. I started following you. And then a few years, you started really talking about these gifts that you have. And I was so honored to be one of your I guess like at the beginning, right? When you were starting to do sessions. And we had an amazing, powerful session. I was able to feel like my dad in the session and so many truths, so many insights came out of that. So I'm really excited about our conversation today.
Yeah, I'm excited too. I mean, you are, oh my God, I don't know why it makes me emotional. Literally, you've been there from the very beginning. And well, I think you've taken my classes and then we officially met in Bali. And I think this is just a really good representation of how spirit works, and that when the people are meant to come in your life, you're being guided and you're never alone, and there's support coming from the other side. And so there's so much magic, and our relationship definitely exemplifies that because, we really got to know each other in Bali when by accident.
I know.
I think you were like at the cafe of the hotel I was staying at, and then somehow we all connected, and then you were the first, as I opened up about being a medium and really found the bravery of and the courage to speak out about what it was experiencing. You were the first person to ever, I think, hire me. So
I loved it. I loved the session. It was an amazing session. And from there, I started like recommending you to my friends, and all my friends have had such amazing things to say. So I love it. I love how spirit guides us, you know?
Yeah. And I think it's interesting because even before I got on here, you know, I was being guided to talk about like children and innocence and how we have this gift, because not everyone believes that you're born with this. There are people that believe that only certain people have this gift. I'm not one of those. I think everyone has this ability to connect, and that we all channel differently, of course. Like no one actually channels the same as one person. And we'll talk about this more in your workshop, which I'm really excited about, and being able to really go through the steps and process of connecting with your intuition, with higher power, with God, with the source. And that anyone can do this. And when you devote it, it just so seamlessly comes into your life. So, I don't know, it's just been really fun.
I know.
I mean, it's been several years now, but it's like, it's still fun.
I'm sure it is. But you know, when I was a little girl, I have this experience. My parents were very spiritual. I grew up with all these stories from the Bible with angels, but I think I also was very young when I started hearing about demons and all this other dark world out there. And as a child, I had my imagination just flew with it. You know, it was very, yeah, I was given too much information, I think, for the age that I was. And with my imagination, I just went to these really dark spaces. I found out later in life that I was super psychic. It was never explained that way. So I was never able to manage all these experiences that I had as a child. And I think that I know that you work with a lot of people nowadays, and I've been very careful with my girls to know up to how much information do I give them, because I know the power of our imagination as well, as we co-create these experiences with our imagination. But yeah, I've been it's amazing because I grew up with a mom that gave me all this information, and then I've been like very careful on what I give them as information, so that their experience with source is very pure, that they can come tell me what's going on instead of me like feeding a lot of things. So I had a question about what happens when you find out that your child is really psychic and that they're having these experiences that maybe us as mothers, some people are not connected to them yet, so they don't really understand. But what would be like the first step as a mom that you know that your kids are like, wow, this is another level, you know, they're connecting to source?
I am not a mother yet, as you know, but I am super passionate about bringing these resources to mothers. And as a child of someone that's experienced it, you know, for my personal journey, I was a kid in the 90s in the conservative South. So I learned about a connection of God early in the younger ages, but I also had a lot of imaginary friends. I always talked to myself. Even my mom, like still, she was like, you're always talking to yourself. Went to boarding school, was still talking to myself, you know, was really talking to spirits. And so I feel that, and I was medicated for this. So I really don't want to live in a world where we medicate our children, because what we're teaching them is like, and I'm not for like, of course, whatever works for you. And I think that, you know, medicating, and I'm talking about like amphetamines, antidepressants, things that suppress this gift within inside of us. So I think we've got to be really gentle with these over medicating, because I think that it sends out a message to our children that it's wrong. And that's what I would lead with, because when I was 11 years old, I ended up in the doctor's, and I told the doctor, he asked me, are you hearing voices? And I said, yes. And he just like, what he wrote from that experience was just bone chilling. And I left that doctor's office with like medicine that made me feel like a zombie. And I'm thankful that my mom took me off of it, you know, but she was also a mother in the conservative South, trying to figure out what's going to be best for me to sit still in school and get through the school system, you know, like, great, I'm glad that you're spiritual, but we want to get you through society, right? And I think that's the big question here is like, how can we turn this empathic gifts of children into a superpower? And I think the first thing is recognizing that, like, whenever I'm working with children, I think it's really important to engage in conversation with them, that they know that they're in power with it. I know you're great with this. Like, okay, so when this lady comes to you, what does she say to you? Do you ask her, can you ask her to go away? Like, these are simple questions and things that you can engage in conversations and take their power back, so they understand that spirits are always, no one will ever mess with your willpower. Not even the darkest spirit can ever mess with your willpower. Yes, times can be tough, but you're always in choice. The choice can never be taken from you. And that's the best thing to teach your children, is about willpower. And understanding that. And sometimes you can give them tools, right? Like, I've heard of some people giving like a spray at night, because this is when I'm hearing that spirits are the most active with children as they're going to sleep. And just like us using sage and things like this, we never want to lose our power in the sage. The sage is not cleansing the space. You are. Your willpower is. So you can use these tools and mechanisms, but remember that the child gets to use their voice and to really speak that, even as these entities and spirits start to speak with them. I also think that it's really important to get resources, like get resourced. I am constantly, as I grow and evolve, I'm learning and grabbing onto new tools and things, because yes, lower energy is very real, right? And it doesn't come in like the Bible, where there's like this like haunting band with hooves. Like, no, it's your mind. It's your lower mind, and it's the way that the things that hold us back in life. It's the little voice that's telling you, no, this isn't a spirit. No. And you can always ask these spirits too, do you serve God? Do you serve the higher power? And you'll know, because when it comes from love, that's when it's God, right? Like, that's when it's from a good source of energy. And it feels wholesome, it's glowing, it's magnetic, you can feel the energy, you want to be with it, it's energizing, you don't even need to sleep, like you can just keep going because the energy just fills you up and all you are present, right? But then when lower energy invades you, your mind keeps going, and it's like you're never enough. You're always wanting to shove something down. You want to escape your body, right? And so we can see that in children from the external view. And so we can also learn to engage with tools and mentors and learning, because this information, unfortunately, is not readily available. It's not readily taught in schools. And being able to go against the grain and do things that maybe, like, I don't know, these bowls maybe sound a little silly, which no one here on your live is going to be saying this, but there are people out in the world that like maybe sound bowls is really out there for them. And like, but that's the thing, is just to go for it, try it once, and you get to check in with you and see, is this really supporting me to help aid myself and elevating my higher self and letting go of those lower voices. And the lower energy will always be there. You just put it in the back seat. Like, you just
how did you because okay, they started medicating you when you were 11. You were medicated for how long?
I was medicated for all my life, pretty much. Probably till I went into school. I mean, I was born into a horse farm, and I broke horses myself till I was 14 years old. I mean, from the womb. And so, just like a lot of people have spiritual gifts and they never know it, right? There's a lot of horse trainers that are super gifted and are literally animal communicating, but they don't label it that, right? And so I was raised by those people.
Okay, now I understand more now.
Yeah, then I got medicated, and then once I got into school, it was like, okay, obviously some things need to happen. There was some trauma that I was experiencing as well, so there was some lower energy coming in, and I didn't know, no one knew how to deal with that at that age. There's no like anything, like we didn't even understand it. We didn't know that that was a lower force coming in. And I think that's the other thing, is that like we're here to learn. earth is school. I mean, we look at the children, the majority of children that are being born on earth, and they're coming from like lower income brackets, lower education. I mean, like the majority of kids. I'm not saying everybody, okay?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I'm just saying the majority of the souls are choosing these families to come through because they want to elevate, they want to grow, they want to learn. So I think even as a mother, like that's coming across for me now, is to just be like easy with yourself. No one knows what we're doing here.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, like just trying is the best thing you can do, is just showing up for your child and really for yourself is the most important, is to be that light, the guiding light.
And how did you choose this path? Because I met you as a yoga teacher. How did you like decide, I'm a medium, this is what I do, I channel? How did you make peace with that, you know, coming from the South? I mean, I don't know, with your family background and everything, how do you show up for the world in your highest self?
Yeah. So I went to boarding school. Like I left home at 14 and then I traveled all around, and then still really suppressing. I became an expert. And I think that's what we've got to watch out, especially with kids, is like, where are they learning how to like suppress these gifts? Like at 14, I became bulimic. I was drinking alcohol at 14, like not just drinking, like really drinking, but I've always been able to maintain it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to look good on the surface. And so I followed me all the way through college, and I got through and I graduated college and I ended up in New York. I landed my dream job. I was working for an amazing art advising firm, and right on Fifth Ave in Midtown. And isn't it crazy when you get what you want? It's just like, oh, is this really what I want? And by that time I was having so much anxiety that like it was crippling. It was bone crippling anxiety, and I was on all this medication. And then I just woke up. I had a death that was really close to me, and it just was like crashing down. Like, I can't function like this anymore. I've got to get off this medication, and I got to be really me. I've got to figure out who that is. And that took me like 7 years of really like getting off the medication, being like severely depressed, and then being able to like rise through those voices, and learning the tools that I'm saying. Like I started with yoga, and like, you got to remember, I'm from the conservative South. So I had this belief system, like once you open that door,
Same
you don't
here.
know, you know, like it's like, I was like, oh, you know, and I was in a relationship with a guy that didn't want me to bring that into the house too. So I was engaged to him.
Wow.
So yeah, this is when we first met, and I was teaching yoga. And so that's what I was experiencing. So I was going through all these tools. I started with Soul Cycle in New York, and then I came here and took Terry Cooper's 200-hour teacher training at 305 Yoga back in the day, the old one in the Biscayne. That was really yummy. And I mean, I still kept quiet, but I was experiencing like so much spirit once I sat down in meditation. And then
What would you experience? Like what? Tell us a little.
I would see people walk up to me, they would tell me things, and then I would tell someone. And that was the first time I got evidence. Like I was experiencing things in New York. I was having major anxiety attacks because I was an empath, and I had no idea I'm in the middle of Manhattan, like just taking it all in. Like just losing it. But then, and I was having these really crazy visions and experiences. But then when I got on the mat, I would see people walk up to me, and then they would tell me to go tell this person I'm the uncle, like Arnold, and like, this is what, you know, I have to say. And so I would go after yoga and like be terrified, but I'd just say, hey, like, do you have someone that passed? Like, I think I had this experience during meditation. And then they would confirm it for me. And so that was the first moment that I was like, this is real. And it's not just me. Like there's other people that are being affected. Like I can do something bigger with this.
Wow.
Yeah. Pretty much. I mean, that's pretty much what happened. And it was a great terrifying time of my life.
to know that. I'm sure. I've had experiences with lucid dreamings and things like that. Um, but you know, I was very psychic, and I moved to Houston, Texas for for 3 years after the girls were born. And I was very sensitive. I was an empath. I had never read anything because just like you and my family, they had told me that if I opened that door, just be careful with those doors. You know, you don't open those doors. So I had never even read about it. I was scared about reading about all my abilities and all my psychic things. And I was just so scared that I went to one of my healers and I said, I just need you to close my third eye. You know, I need to do something, a ceremony, something. I'm getting too much information and I don't know what to do with all this information. And she asked me like 7 times, are you sure that you want to do this? We can just work through it. And I'm like, no, this is not good. You know, like with all my belief system, I was like, I don't know where this is taking me. This is not good. I don't even want to explore everything that you're telling me, you know? I didn't even understand the chakras at that moment. And she did it, and she turned it off for about 3 years, 2 years. I was able to come back to myself, relax, see it from a human perspective. And then I started to miss it. And I was like, you know what? This isn't me. I miss all these things. And I went back to her and I'm like, can we do something? I'm ready to open up. You know, I've been living without him for 2 years, but I feel like a part of me is missing. And that's when I started opening up to all these psychic abilities and really understanding of our true nature and just letting fear go, going through love, and realizing that as soon as I let go of the fear in my belief system, everything that I started seeing was different. Mm-hmm. It wasn't coming from a space of fear anymore. So what you're saying about the lower mind having such an impact in our abilities and manipulating us to feel all these dark sides. It's like if somebody would have told me, Sarah, that dark side is all your fears, and every time you start fearing more, it gets bigger, and you know, it becomes like a Harry Potter movie. You just need to like really control your mind and focus on your heart. You know, it's so simple. And that's what I try to teach the girls now, you know, just focus on your heart. Don't let your mind, you know, very simple tools at this. There are only 9. But if I would have had like something like that, you know, focus on the heart, energy of the heart. Don't go in through the whole mind ego experience. You can see whatever you want to see when it comes, you're always in the space of feeling protected. Because I know you see a lot of things. I was in your session. I was like, oh my God.
This is you're a seer. Yeah, you're a seer too, right? But you also feel things. I mean, but you do hear.
I hear, feel, and see. Yeah. It's strong.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I know it's strong with you, yes. And it's just getting stronger. I love
getting stronger.
I mean, that was such an aha moment for me. I was in the mountains in Asheville at one of my mentors' retreat center. And I remember just sitting there being like, oh, this makes total sense. Like,
exactly.
You just got to focus on what you want. Like, literally, it says it like in the Bible as well. But somehow we like missed that chapter. It's like, it's so simple. It's so simple and easy. And that like so many ancient cultures use this. And I think that this is the missing concept within our cultures. This is why we're living in insanity right now, because no one is plugged in and listening to their higher self. Like we don't even really need news outlets and media when we are able to really listen to ourselves. Like notice how animals like know when a hurricane's coming. Like they don't listen. They don't tap into Fox News.
I know.
They're already prepared. They're like gathering, but we get in the way because we have the like fenced in and stuff. Like it was so natural. It's our human right. Like, and that's what I want to place back into everyone. And I want to be able to have people understand that this is not a curse. Like this is a major gift and it's here for you. Like you can hear stories from like Pablo Cielo. He says like, how long did he write that book? Like it took him like, he said that he wrote it in like 3 days or something crazy. Like that is like total tapped into source spirit. And these are like big results from being tapped into energy. And there's all kinds. There's angels, there's masters, there's all these different realms and divisions. We're so small in the magnitude of the 5D world, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we have access to that. I like to work with spirits because they're evidence-based, and I'm just now even more expanding, and I'm getting a lot of angelic energy and working with angels. However, I've been working with spirits. I studied at Arthur Findlay, which is a spiritualist academy. There's all different kinds of like beliefs and so many, like it's crazy. And like the other thing I see is like I've never worked in an industry with like the biggest egos as well. So it's just like the lower mind's always there too.
Yeah, I know.
It's always there, and but it's so beautiful the way that it all plays and becomes a dance, and it's magic, and there's so many different lineages and so much to learn in the sect that we all really get to captivate on that, and to use it in our businesses, use it in our lives, because it literally saves time. It saves you emotions. Like it really helps. And it feels so amazing when you can really be in that bliss and understand. You can see the pain. This isn't spiritual bypassing. It's like, okay, I understand there's pain, but I can like also see the big picture. So I see that pain is like this big compared to like the big picture that's this big, right? Like it's being able to even hold that container for myself and to really experience that and express it and to see things from a higher power. And I think that communicating with spirits also supports us so much with mourning and loss. Once you really understand the concept that spirits still live on, life after death, like it's here. Life is always here.
Let's talk a little bit about that, because you have a big connection with spirits that have passed, and you're able to hear them perfectly. Was this something that you could hear when you were little, or was it something that has been like you first started seeing or hearing and then you go into this, or was it just something that was with you always?
Always. And I think yes, always. And I can remember seeing things, spirits. I can remember seeing my brother before he was born, and then also I would see spirits like I grew up in old Civil War land, so I would see all kinds of spirits. And actually my dad and mom, they talk. My mom is, of course, she's a working medium as well, but she wasn't that way when I was growing up. We woke up together. She actually led it, but my dad also has very gifted, and he works in law enforcement and worked in the military, so he used his gifts in that way. And but when they came together, literally, I was one of those souls. I mean, how many on here are watching this that are that soul where your parents came together and that was it? like you literally were on the other side pulling them together. Yeah. You just wanted to have that DNA. That was my soul. I just really wanted my dad and my mom. They're so different and opposite, but they're just like exactly what my soul wants. And I love them both so much. And they're like the perfect mix. Of course my soul wanted this. I was that soul, and when I brought them together in the conservative South was that they love to talk about spirits.
Wow.
Yeah, so my dad loves going to haunted houses. He's always lived in old homes. He loves these kind of things. So my mom and him really bonded over that. And although they were very both still very conservative, and in those experiences, they just bonded through that. And they would have a lot of conversations about spiritualists. And then my dad always also says that he's had 5 children, and out of all the 5 children, the only children that he saw spirits around, and when I was born, was me. And that there was, given me 3 different stories of me being in the crib, getting tangled, and all of a sudden a spirit pulling me apart, crazy things like that. So there's always been a lot of spirits around me from a very young age, and I really love it. I love it. I love being in that energy. I'm so my father's child. I will go, I think you know this, I go on haunted houses by myself and go and stay there. I just really love being there. Before quarantine, I went to this I went to South Carolina and stayed at this old Civil War hospital when I'm just by myself, and I just get led there and I'm guided, and all of a sudden I'm like, holy crap, like I'm here by myself in this house,
Channeling.
haunted. What am I doing? How?
But like, what was that purpose? Like, if you get there, like you just wanted to channel in that house and that energy, see what you would see. Like, does it take you to just explore more of your spirituality?
Yeah, it just like gives me more information. Sometimes it'll, land holds information. I mean, you know this, you're the queen of it. Land holds information, like, and there's difference between mediumship and psychic, right? And I believe a lot of the spiritualist views in this, because in mediumship they believe that, like, okay, there's spirit that pass over and they carry that energy, right? But that's an actual spirit. They also, spiritualists also don't believe in past lives, but like I believe in many lifetimes. That's just my personal belief. But then they also believe in psychic energy, which psychic energy, they actually believe that haunted houses like aren't actually spirits. Does that make sense? So it's not a spirit haunting it, it's actually psychic energy. And which I really understand. I understand it. I'm still have some questions around it, because like myself, like I've been to a lot of haunted houses and I'm seeing some things that like it doesn't completely answer everything that I've experienced. So I'm like open to it. But I think it does make a lot of sense, because like, even in our house, if you're like constantly going to the kitchen and binge eating, or if you're going to the kitchen and having joyful experiences, like you're creating a thumbprint, a portal in your house, right? Of like either up energy or down energy. And so that's psychic. But so we can have it, we can come into that energy and be able to read it and understand it. And so sometimes we're led to places, even like countries or cities, because there's so much information that's encoded into the land, and then we can pick that up. And sometimes it's mostly sitting in silence and just understanding it. So for this case, I went to a hospital that was a Civil War land in South Carolina, in Beaufort, South Carolina. It was a hotel, and they turned it in from a hospital. And there was a lot of talk around healing and being able to experience and relive those memories of being in this really warm space, because there was a woman that ran the hospital at that time, was really insane, and she was a power leader. So I got some big downloads on business and being a healer and wanting the greatest good as an entrepreneur.
Wow. Amazing.
Sometimes it's different.
I love your experiences. Where are you going on vacation? I'm just a road trip to a hospital. Just gonna sit down and get a few downloads. But that's what we start doing in the spiritual path. We really start to dig into all these things for ourselves. We don't want people telling us. We really want to experience what it is, That's the most beautiful part of it all, that we get our own answers.
Yeah, when you're called, it's just like a nudge. You can't stop it. It's like when you all of a sudden show up in the right place. It's just like, I gotta be there. I don't know what it is, but I just gotta go.
I know. Well, since you told me about the school in England, about where you went to school, it's been calling me. I don't have that much time. I have kids. I have so much, right now I can't go. But I've been on that website so many times, because I've never studied anything about mediumship, or like I'm just intuitive, I just get all the information, but I also feel so drawn. I'm like, I wonder if I'm just gonna feel home when I get to that school. I mean, it's like a Harry Potter school, how fun.
Yeah, the Stansted is just amazing. It's, oh God, I just felt so at home, and I felt like I really connected with my lineage. I think I just loved it. Like
I love the courses. I was reading through the courses and I'm like, oh my God, this is like a new, like,
I cried.
I mean, I wish I could meet someone that was really building this school for kids. I wish I would have had my kids in another type of school, but I wish that we had like a fairy school. They'll learn math, they'll learn all this stuff, but 60% of the courses have to be going back to spirit, going back to connection, going back to really changing and creating this new world,
Well, I think that's like the biggest thing, is that if we learn where we're creating from, right? It's be, do, have. Like we've got to be first, then do, and then have. Like it's so simple, but right now we're teaching our children how to do.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, but I think it's definitely going to happen. That I think we'll see it in our lifetime. I really, really have faith in it. There's no way that we can keep living the way that we're living right now. I mean, it's just obviously falling apart and crumbling. Like,
I know. I love how we're trying to hold on to it. Everybody's like trying to hold on to the system that's clearly not working right now. But I know that somebody is creating something now, something big.
Yeah, I know it's definitely, I mean, we're here. We're all, I think anyone that's here, even watching this live, like we're here to bring out our spiritual gifts and to shift this consciousness of this entire planet. Like, I know that that's why we're all here to witness this. This is not the ending. This is just the beginning.
I love it. Yes. Yes. So tell us, how can a person that's listening to us that has had any of these experiences, that is listening to you and they're like, I've known when somebody's going to die, or I've heard the voice of my aunt, or I've seen somebody's grandfather. How would you recommend to start just inquiring a little bit more about this gift and seeing it as a gift and not as a curse?
Well, the first thing would probably be to join a spiritual circle. I think that's the most important. There's, no matter where you are at, I know right now we're in quarantine, so most of them have gone online. I think it's important to practice with other people, to be in community, to be with people that just remind you that you're not crazy, and to remind you that this is a gift and it's a power. Like, surround yourself around people that are on that same path and are there to empower you, and to also call you out when the lower energies, to, like, you feel those things, and remind you of your willpower is the most important aspect. And I think so being in community is so important. Oh my God, did you just see that? I think if you watch the replay, you'll see there's like a thread that just fell through. Felt like spirit.
You have a spiritual circle, right?
Yeah, and I have a spiritual circle, and there's a intro course to my spiritual circle that meets every Thursday. But this one is the intro course starts on Sunday evenings at 7 p.m. and it'll happen this I think it's this coming Sunday, not this Sunday, next week on the 12th. And it's a 101 course. It's 3 weeks, and you don't have to continue into the regular spiritual circle. You could just go with this and have your own personal practice, whatever it is. But we'll really learn deeply how to work on our gifts, and then we'll take them in action. So you'll have an opportunity to practice them for 3 weeks in depthly, and really find that confidence within inside of yourself, and being able to also bring them into your daily life, no matter what you're doing for work, but to have them show up for you in life and impact your life in a really positive way.
I think that's beautiful. To start with a spiritual circle. Yeah, because I was in a spiritual circle last year. Well, it wasn't a circle, but it was like this my first course on psychic abilities and all this. It was the first time that I really went somewhere, and it was a few of us. It was like 30 people. And it was so amazing because it was very simple. I was expecting like this to be like, and it was just like, okay, grab a partner and tell them when their last vacation was. Where were they? Where did they go? And who were they with? And I was like, what? And it was like the first thing that came to mind, and you just had to say it. And it was right. And I was like, and the teacher kept on saying, it's the first thing that you feel. It's the first thing that you feel. Don't think it. Don't start thinking about it. It's crazy, not crazy. And these were the exercises, and a lot of people that were there, we were able to really understand how connected we were to source, and it's just like what you were saying, it was a sweet confirmation.
Yeah. And I think exactly. And like, yeah, I know there's a lot of people that use medicine to access these powers. And I think learning how to also access it without, medicine is also important, because you don't need, it's not the modality.
We're spiritual beings.
And you're spiritual beings. And so these circles that I'm talking about are like sober experiences where you just learn, oh, wow, it's literally the simplest thing ever, because you realize you've had it all along.
I know. You're like, okay.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
You had it all along. It's not like some mystical aha moment. It's like, oh crap, I've like literally just been suppressing this. I've had it. Like it's right there. So I think getting a spiritual development circle is really good. And then also meditating. Like I suggest anyone to meditate. I think that's, of course, having kind of ritual throughout your day where you just get quiet and listen is so special and important.
So with your guidance, and I know that you guide a lot of people, what is the thing that you like to guide the most in? Like when they call you for sessions, what are your favorite sessions to do on someone? Like when they're going through what? Your favorite?
Oh, I mean, I really love coaching people. I love working with mediumship and coaching. I love working with businesses. I'm not a typical medium where I have people that are mourning and like coming to me and like wanting. I do have people that are mourning, but they're wanting. It's like they're mourning, but they're called to me because they're opening something new, and I love that. Like I really love connecting people to spirit, so they're building intuitive businesses in our community because I'm just like, put all the money into the like light workers, like just give them the money. That's what I'm currently like so passionate about. I want to live in that world. So when I get a session, I sit down with someone and they're like, all these messages start coming through spirit, it just lights me up. I mean, I'm not so conscious during the session, but then after it just excites me so much because I'm just like, this is the world I want to live in.
Yeah.
And yeah, I typically get clients that have this gift within inside of them and they're here to awaken it. So those are the kind of clients I think that excite me the most, that are just motivated and want to like make a major impact in their life. Sometimes I get more excited because like I actually see the vision because I'm cool. And I'm like, it's so great. And also I've had readings like this on myself, but my mentors have given me a session and I'm like, I don't want to start that program. And they're like, it's amazing. I see it. I see the big picture.
Everything.
And then it happens and you're like, oh, this is what they were talking about. It's amazing. They're right. And that's more like psychic work. But when it comes from mediumship, it's a little different. But those are definitely my favorite clients, the ones that are awakening themselves.
Let's see what people are at. Plant the Future wants to see you soon. Of course.
Would be so honored.
Let's see. Questions. I know this is our first English live. Everybody's like, what?
I know. This is interesting.
This is interesting.
The first one I can understand is the one I'm in.
Spirit understands.
I do link in with spirit. I'm like, Sarah's like the only person that I can link in and I can feel like I understand what she's saying.
Yes. Slowly. No. I think that your work, that what you're doing is amazing. We spoke on the last live with another of my friends. She's been helping me with all my branding, creating all my branding for the last like 5-6 years. And she was talking about that, like helping soul entrepreneurs, soulpreneurs to really find their heart in their branding, to take this message to the world. And you're saying the same thing, like you love to work with entrepreneurs that are really creating these new businesses, that are creating these new models, these new visions for this new earth. That's amazing to be able to work with people like that. It's so much passion involved.
Right. And I love growing. I love learning. It's like, I love it. I love growing. I love learning. I think it's just so fun. What does it mean when you see someone who passed away many, many years ago? Sounds like you're a medium. It's really exciting. I'm just really grateful to be on this path, to be growing, to be vulnerable, and to just be here, to be present, to be amazed at all these like amazing questions and all these things that are coming in. It's like,
what does that mean? And it's like, So the question is, what does it mean when you see someone who passed away many years ago, and it's like she had a glow around, and it's an image of peace?
Mm-hmm.
So if you see someone who passed, you're a medium. That's the first thing.
So the first thing would be that, well, you know, Spirit doesn't really label us. If we could break this down, right?
No, I know. We're bringing
really
it down
what
to the earth so that people like every one of us can understand.
Yeah, mediumship is like just like a really limited terminology of what I do for a living, I guess. Or my business, right? It's so much beyond that, but I think we're all mediums. Mood is a medium. It's that connects us to two worlds, and there isn't two worlds. There's one world, the spiritual and there's material, and it's right here in front of us. So therefore, it kind of like demyths the mediumship word, right? But I definitely would say that someone that's experiencing or seeing a spirit that's passed away many years ago, and I feel like this person that's speaking like understands who this spirit is. So I would say that there's definitely some gift coming to the forefront. And then I'm just wondering if you saw this vision many, many years ago, or if you just saw it now of someone that passed many, many years ago. And then the glow around it is the image of peace. Spirits come in. The first thing that comes up for me is that spirits come in the way, like their messages are so omnipresent. Like they're showing you information that like they want you to connect with, right? So peace may be relevant for you at this time. And having that glow and peace. They also come through sometimes, and I'm feeling like this is the omnipresent, like the web of messages, is that they're at peace. Be at peace. Like, be here now. And I'm also seeing a dove, like, in front of her heart. So I'm just feeling like that is part of the message. And especially when you're visual, like it sounds like you're seeing this vision. So you're visual. So they will like literally paint the picture and put symbolism in the message so that you can understand it for yourself. So this may be a message for you and for a message from the spirit saying that they are also at peace. The last thing that's coming up, and this might be a little bit like high terminology for, not for this crowd, but spirits also grow with us. So they grow with us. When you learn and evolve here on earth, the spirits that surround you are also evolving and growing. Like I had my grandmother who passed away, and she passed away in a very conservative environment. She was a recluse. She never left the house. She comes through a lot with me now, and she's totally grown, right? Like she has evolved with all my travels, my wild woman tendencies. She's grown with me and has encouraged that growth along the way. And her spirit has also evolved. And so I feel that that's also important. If a spirit has passed a long, long time ago, there also can be messages and encouragement of you like, hey, by the way, that peace that you can, the image of peace that you can exemplify, I can also take on, because I am at peace and we have grown together. Does that make sense?
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Like your dad grows with you, Sarah.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's funny because my dad was super spiritual, and I grew up having all these questions about death, about life, about God, and obviously I was on this path from a very young age. But I've always had these questions with death because I see a lot of, I'm able to feel people when they're going to die. I have like this very special connection with death. And after he passed, I wasn't able to find him in my dreams. I do a lot of lucid dreaming, and I would always look for him, and he was never coming up. And like about 2 years after he passed, I was able to find him in my dreams. And I found him, and I had so many questions. I was like, okay, I'm here. I'm totally conscious that I'm dreaming. My dad is in front of me. Okay, we're in, right? We're here. And I was like so focused on not waking up and really getting my answers answered. And my dad would just look at me and smile and laugh. And he was like, oh my God, you haven't changed a bit. This is the first time that we're seeing each other. and you have all these questions. Can you just give me a hug? You know, can you live in the present moment? And I was like, no, I need to understand what happened. You know, I have all these questions. And it was such a lesson for me of everything is good. Nothing is really happening. Just relax, you know, like it's all good. And he showed up for me like that a few times, a few dreams. And then I was able to really understand that dimension of they're not even worried, you know. He was always like, you're doing good, your mom's doing good, your brother's doing good. I'm so happy. I'm so blessed to have you guys in my life. Like there was no alarm in his voice or no like distress. And for me, it was like, wow, you know. It was such a big, deep lesson. It took me a while to really grasp.
I remember one of your sessions, the first session I ever did with you was that your dad was standing at the stairs and he didn't want to take the shoes off to go into the studio. And I was like, oh no, I'm telling him to come closer because, you know, we're guided. Like, I will, come closer to me. And he's like,
it's on there. You got it.
And that, like, that's a part of the message. It's a perfect example of the way that spirits come to us because they're trying to relate. Like, that's his personality. And that's like the message. And I think that is, and that made perfect sense for you at that time. But I myself, like as a beginner at that time, I'm still a beginner. You know, I was thinking to myself, oh my God, I don't know if this is right. This can't be accurate. You know, all my lower mind's going like this. But then when I relay that message, it's like, oh, that makes perfect sense. Like, because, and especially when we're sitting in spiritual development circle, you learn a lot of these things is that like, okay, I have a spirit here, but it's like across the room. Well, if this is the case, then maybe this is like, ask questions like, what's the personality of the spirit showing to you? Because that could be a really important message for the person here. And maybe they just don't trust you. Maybe they don't trust this work. Like, you know, you got to get down to the bottom of it. But that's like vital information and evidence that you can be giving someone. So I'm really grateful for that question and so beautiful. And even just like bringing that up, it's so true. Spirit comes in with so many different messages and symbolisms, and they speak from different, you know, what they call the clairs, and listening, smelling, it can be taste, doesn't just have to be visual, or feeling, the gut feeling. You know, there's so many different ways they come in, and they mix those all together, and it's up to us to decipher that. And I think once you've learned how to meditate and found a spiritual circle, I think the third thing would be really study symbols and messages as well. But like, what does that aura mean to you in that vision? What does peace mean to you? How did that feel? Because what spirit's also showing you is a symbol. This means peace. So then when you feel it for someone else, you know, oh, peace, like something's telling me peace. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. I love doing that, like animals, symbology, tarot cards. I'm like just taking it in and really studying it, or even the different archetypes from different lineages. I really love to work with them in my sessions because then I know, oh, Green Tara is coming up right now, like, and I can feel with her energies coming in. There's some important like fierce mantras and wording, things like that make me coming in, and a lot about activism and peace, and I don't know, she just represents like taking action, but also delegating. For me, that's just my personal belief. It doesn't have to be what other people believe in it, but creating those personal beliefs within symbolisms and being open to them evolving can really support your spiritual gifts. And that's like the bonus right there.
Yeah. Archetypes are amazing because we can work with those energies, then go to another archetype. It's like we're always transforming, our energy is always in a different place, and studying these archetypes is amazing. It helps me a lot to understand them.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Okay. Just reading the comments. Sloane, well, it's going to be amazing. I'm really excited for Saturday. I can't wait to learn from you and have this workshop with you and just really have all the girls learn from your amazing journey.
Yeah, I'm super grateful. I'm just so thankful for everyone watching this and who tuned in, and I'm really grateful for this experience. I love when everything it lines up for you to like work with your friends. It's just literally the best. It's just,
I'm so happy.
I'm so excited.
I get to work with my friends.
I'm so grateful.
Well, yeah, I'm so grateful. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for just shining your light on all these different things and opening a little door for us to explore and really understand that there's light on the other side, you know, that all the belief systems to just start questioning what we believe, why we believe it, and listening to our hearts more. You know, our heart is always guiding us to all these gifts, to all these sometimes new gifts or weird gifts or whatever you want to call them. You know, they bring so much joy, so much peace, so much wisdom and guidance. I think that the guidance part of it, like I've seen you since you started like really powering up and like accepting all your gifts, and it's just so powerful to see how something that scared us for so many years turns out to be that thing that we can gift the world, and it's our thing, you know, that we fear the most. So thank you for showing up.
Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being just amazing light on that path.
Thank you. Okay, guys. Well, we'll see you Saturday.
I know. I'm so excited. Thank you.
Love you,
Have
babe.
an amazing Sunday.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.